Hi, everyone. Welcome back to World War She. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I hope your New Year's been going amazingly. Dwayne's on a work trip, so we decided to just do a solo episode this week. So, a little mini bonus episode until we get back in the real swing of things next week with our misogyny and music New Year extravaganza episode that we're both really excited about. Trying to think of the top things that happened this week, this new year that everyone's talking about. The first one, obviously, Heated Rivalry. You cannot go anywhere without seeing them boys everywhere. Like, that's all anyone's talking about. One of my friends sent me a screenshot of her Instagram Explore page, and it was all pictures of them boys. If you don't know, Heated Rivalry is this new show on HBO Max. It was shot in Canada, and it's about these two hockey players and their romantic entanglement as it evolves throughout their careers. I started watching it, got through the first three episodes. I really like it. I just haven't been watching TV that much lately, but I look forward to finishing the show. It looks really great. And the actors from the show are getting so much attention right now. People are saying they haven't been this obsessed with male celebrities since Bieber Fever in 2009. And I think that's a very accurate description to what's going on. I saw this girl who says she flew all the way from Texas to New York City to see one of the guys, I think Shane, when he was on Jimmy Fallon. Isn't that insane? I mean, I don't know. Like, if you gotta like that, you gotta like that, and that's what you want to do with your money. Like, I support it, honestly. Industry, which is my show, comes out on Sunday. I'm really excited about. Industry is my show. If you haven't watched it, you need to watch it. It follows investment bankers in London through their turmoil that is their life. Their lives are so chaotic. Yeah, they're liars, schemers. Each one of the characters is worse than the next. And I love it so much. Speaking of another show where each character is worse than the next, Tell Me Lies also comes back, I think, next week. I love Tell Me Lies so much. It is such a good show. It follows these young adults in college, and the main character, Lucy, is in this horrible toxic relationship with this guy Steven, and they just be up to some bad behavior, and it's really entertaining to watch. And the new season, the way that each season ends with the craziest twist you've ever seen in your entire life has me gobsmacked, has my jaw on the ground. So I read the Tell Me Lies book. If you haven't read the Tell Me Lies book, I would very much recommend it. It was really good. It adds a whole deeper layer to each character that you see in the show. I feel like a lot of Lucy and Steven's behaviors make so much more sense in the book when you're in each of their inner monologue, because the book is in both of their point of views. I'll forgive that. Normally I hate dual point of view books, but this one, it makes it work so well. It is such a good book. My last piece of news, I saw Avatar in theaters. Oh my gosh, guys, it was so freaking good. It was so good. I love Avatar so much ever since I saw the first movie when I was a kid. Like, I seriously, there's something that connects with me. Like, my braids connect with the movie theater seat whenever I'm watching an Avatar movie, because the way it consumes my mind for like months after should be studied. I think it was studied, right? They called it Avatar Blues. I have horrific Avatar Blues right now. My For You page on TikTok is like entirely Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, which is the video game. It's like an open world immersive video game. And I am so sad because it's not available on the Nintendo Switch, which is the gaming platform that I have. So I'm just kind of like, dang, I guess I'll have to play it. I don't think it'll run on this MacBook, which is the only computer that I have. So I might just have to go without, which is very sad because I feel like it would immerse me so much. I want to play it so bad. Oh, I should introduce myself again. My name is Uzo. Welcome back to World War She. I've gotten a few more followers because I had a TikTok that did kind of well. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Uzo. I am an engineer. I live in Austin. I was born and raised in Texas. Still live here. Work here. Love it here. I study computer science and women's and gender studies in college. I love to talk about women's and gender studies. I love to talk about technology. That's kind of the brunt of the topics that we discuss on this podcast. This week's episode is going to be more of an imaginative one. I think with everything that's going on right now in America, it feels so hopeless at times. And I think what really helps me is to imagine a better future. And I think that that's something that is so important that we should all try to be doing, right? So I was thinking about what would my ideal society look like? How would I shape it? What would it be like? And it got me thinking about utopias. Like, how would I design my own utopia? Which got me doing a lot of research about utopias. So let's get into it. So, thinkers have been dreaming of ideal societies for a long time. So, the word utopia, the very word utopia, comes from Sir Thomas More's 1516 book, Utopia, which describes a fictional island society free of poverty and suffering. And the word itself, the Greek word utopia, literally means no place, which is kind of a wink at the fact that this perfect world that he's imagining doesn't exist and like can't exist. There's no place like this. Even Plato, like the Greek philosopher Plato, when he was creating his perfect cities and his writings, Republican Laws, he imagined cities that were ruled by philosopher kings that kept balance and ruled with reason. And in these stories, crime is rare, needs are met, and people live in harmony. And these like writings and books and thought experiments were just that. Like they were just thought experiments. But I think the point of imagining utopia isn't to think that this can really happen, but it's so we can plant seeds and imagine things that we can create in our own lives that can be like this. So, for Black thinkers, utopian imagination has been a powerful tool for hope and strategy for a while. Martin Luther King Jr. often spoke, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. often spoke of beloved community, which was a vision of a society in which racism, poverty, and war all end. In Dr. King's words, this community is one in which all people can share in the wealth of the earth, where racism and all forms of discrimination, bigotry, and prejudice will be replaced by an all-inclusive spirit of sisterhood and brotherhood. He stressed that this wasn't this unreachable fantasy, but a realistic and achievable goal if enough people commit themselves to justice and nonviolence. In Dr. King's beloved community, conflict can exist, but it would be resolved peacefully without bombs or hatred. W.E. Du Bois similarly urged us to confront racism and race head on. He famously observed that the color line, which are the divisions and injustices that are based on race, was the problem of the 20th century and indeed the most important problem of any society. Du Bois understood that systemic racism wasn't just a Black problem, but a social wound affecting everyone. Du Bois argued that ending racism would repair the very structure of society. Black leaders have imagined alternatives to segregation and marginalization for decades. For example, Du Bois supported economic cooperatives and self-help organizations in the early 1900s as a step towards equality. All of this was a part of Black utopian tradition, dreaming of what society could look like if Black people were freed fully from oppression. And I think we should also acknowledge gender in our vision. A lot of the thinkers that were really mainstream from this time are obviously men, but I think also a true utopia has to abolish misogyny. Women should have complete freedom of movement and the freedom to defend ourselves. Imagine a world where girls and women can walk home safely at night, where sexist harassment doesn't happen on the street, where there isn't just this ever constant, ever present threat of sexual violence perpetrated against us by men. Like, until we can live freely in this world, until we can do things alone without a male chaperone by our sides or have to walk in a group, we're not really free. We don't have the same freedom of movement as our male counterparts. We're not free citizens if we can't move freely and express ourselves freely. Like, I think that that is a foundation of my dream utopia that we're going to discuss in this episode. When women can really live out loud, play in the streets, walk home to the bus stop, walk to the train alone without fear of getting punched in the side of the head like Hallie Kate. These visions, Dr. King's beloved community, Du Bois' call to end the color line, feminist calls to end male violence against women, remind us that utopia is not, it doesn't have to be a theoretical exercise. These dreams that they had to some extent came to fruition. We're in a better place now than we were 60 years ago. Like, these are actionable things that we can work together and create for ourselves. We can use this line of thinking to help us define. And when we can define it, we can act on what we want freedom, justice, and equality in our society to look like. So utopian ideas often get dismissed as these impossible fantasies, but I think that the real value is stirring up our imagination. So as this guy, Jesse A. Rines, he wrote this article called Agency, Race, and Utopia. He wrote, the idea of dreaming of utopias, the power lies in the ability to stir the imagination and point it in the direction of sustained structural society-wide improvement in living conditions. So dreaming of a better world gives us a target for change. Without a clear picture of the society that we want, we can't react to our problems with a vision of what we want the solution to even be. So we're seeing a clash of visions right now. So on one hand, conservatives have laid out a very clear, detailed bullet point, checkpoint, 1, 2, 3, follow these instruction manual for how they want the future of our government and society to look. Project 2025, it's literally a 900-page document, blueprint for the restructuring of our government and of our society. And it details hundreds of policy changes that they're enacting, like one by one, like they're going through the list. And the Heritage Foundation, these people, the Trump aides, they didn't just sit around and like say, oh, let's see what happens. Da, 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 da. They said like, oh, this is the America that we want. So let's write it down and let's think about the America that we want and how we want to see it happen. And I feel like, on the other hand, progressives, Democrats have plenty of values that they believe in, but I think that they lack an explicit map and an explicit plan of how they want to see these things enacted. I remember in 2016 when Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, all those people were running for election back then. We weren't talking about the things that we're talking about now. We were talking about free universal healthcare. We were talking about free college. We were talking about universal pre-K. We were talking about federally mandated maternal leave. Like, we were talking about real things back then. Real things that we wanted to see enacted in our society and plans to see those to fruition. And I feel like they don't articulate the plan anymore to us as voters. And we can see this in how disillusioned voters are in the Democratic Party. It feels like, to me as a voter, I often feel like the plan that Democrats are trying to sell to me as a voter is, oh, I'm just not Trump. I'm not a Republican. I'm not Trump. That's not good enough anymore. We need a clear vision of what we want this country to look like. And when they're writing the vision, leave out the words Trump. Leave out the words conservatives. What do you want this country to look like? Not in comparison to other, like, if you could start from scratch, or we can't start from scratch, if you were going to start now and have full creative control over how this country looks, what would you do? How would you do it? That's what I want to see. They cannot afford to be vague anymore about what they want for our future, about what we want for our future. That's why I love Zoran's campaign in New York City so much. I felt like there were so many distractions that they tried to throw at him, but he kept it pure to the point. This is my plan for New York City. This is my plan for the people in New York. If you guys are with it, vote for me. I hope you do. We're going to make buses free. We're going to try to do this for universal pre-K. We're going to make it so mothers don't have to decide between going to work or taking care of their kids. That's how we're going to do it. So vote for me. They kept on trying to throw all these different distractions at him, but it was very clear, and I think that that's why he won the election. That's why he empowered so many young voters, because it was very clear that he had a detailed vision for how he wanted to improve the lives of people who live in New York City. And that's what we need more of, people with clear visions of our path forward. And it's more important now than ever, right? We watch the news. News feels hopeless. The news feels hopeless, guys. The news feels hopeless. It's so much more important now than ever to intentionally imagine the future that we do want. So with that in mind, let's do a little thought exercise. So these are pillars. When I imagine a better future and a better society, this is what I imagine. So for me, pillar one would be investing in a stronger society. I would like to see more of our fiscal budget going towards housing, healthcare, education, youth programs for our youth, cooking classes for the youth, good schools, programs for the elderly, pre-K for the kids. Like, I want to see investment in a stronger, more enmeshed society. That's what I want to see us invest in. That's my first pillar. I feel like when we do that, societies become their own safety nets. When we know our neighbors, when we take care of one another, these are the things that I just think would make our society better for each and every person. So, my second pillar would be freedom of movement for women. I kind of touched on this earlier, but when women can walk home alone at night, can take the bus alone at night, can take the train alone at night, we really reach an enlightened sense of freedom. Freedom from misogyny is it's got to be the second pillar. The Institute for Women's Policy Research did a study that said that 99% of women have experienced some form of street harassment. 80% of women say that they've been target to sexually explicit comments or vulgar gestures. 75% of women say that they've been followed. Half of women say that they have been groped. And 1/3, 30% of women say that they have faced public masturbation. And 1/4, 25% of women have been assaulted by a male stranger. That's what we're facing right now. If he, W.E.B. Du Bois, I'm Uzo saying that in order to fix the dysfunction in our society, we got to solve misogyny. We got to free women. Women have got to be free. When 99 out of 100 women have been harassed in the street, we got a problem. We got a problem with misogyny in this country. We got a real problem with misogyny in this country, in this world. And we got to fix it. My third pillar is racial justice. I want a future where equality is boring. Like, I want a future where we don't have to hear headlines of first black something, first black astronaut, first black center. Like, I want it to be normal that black people, people of color are not held back by these glass ceilings. And we don't have this pressure on you for being the first or for being an example piece for your entire race. Sometimes I feel bad for Mindy Kaling because I feel like a lot of the criticism, this is so off topic, but I feel like a lot of the criticism that she gets about her portrayal of South Asian women and South Asian characters, I think it's just because she's the only one. Like, if there were others doing the same, and I'm sure there are others, but if there were others as famous of her doing the same thing, like, I don't think she has to have the whole weight of her entire racial group on her shoulders when she's writing characters. She should just be allowed to have fun. I want things like that to just be normal, where a lady like Mindy Kaling can just write and express herself and create all these funny TV shows without having to feel the pressure of her entire race bearing down on her. And my last pillar is children as a collective responsibility. To me, children belong to our entire community. The children of the world are all our children. We should all be watching out for all the children of the world. So this looks like funding universal childcare. So families are supported in feeling safe and having a safety net to want to even have children in the first place. Quality education for all children in America, so that families don't have to choose between feeding their children and paying rent. Healthcare, proper nutrition. In my dream society, we would wrap support around every family. We would ensure that families' needs are getting met so that they have housing that they can stay in, healthcare and paid parental leave so that they feel supported to even have a family, to even have children in the first place. In my utopia, decisions would include the young people in our society. We would center future generations by talking about policies as if our grandchildren were listening. And that includes climate change policy, education reforms, economic planning. Like, we should be asking ourselves, what type of world are we leaving to our kids or to our grandchildren? Like, that's the type of thinking that we need to be thinking about for today's policies. So now I'm going to ask you, like, what does your ideal society look like? Think about it for real. I think it's really important that if you had a magic wand, what changes would you make? Like, I've been hearing a lot of pain and frustration and anger at the state of the world right now. Valid. That's valid. And I see even people, like, there's so many people now who are like, I don't even want kids. Like, I wouldn't even want to bring a child into this world, which is valid. But if you could design the world that you're thinking about, would you want kids? Like, that's the question. Like, our future generations, they need us. They need us to fight for a future where we even want to choose to have kids. Like, that's how dire this is. That's how dire this is for people who literally want kids. Like, I know one of my friends loves children. She was like, I would have 6 kids if I could. She don't even know she want to bring a child into the world because of how bad things are right now. Like, that's what we're fighting with right now. So please, guys, what are you doing? I want us to all kind of ask ourselves, like, think about your daily actions. And I want us to all kind of ask ourselves, what am I doing right now that reflects the world that I want? Because we all kind of got to be putting in some work right now because things are really bad. Things are looking bad. Like, and making a TikTok is not work. Posting an Instagram graphic is not work. And I realized this last year in February. And I was like, dang, like, I'm really not doing enough for my community. So one thing that I did was I volunteered for my county's CASA division, which is a court-appointed special advocate. So I'm a CASA volunteer. I help advocate for their family in court. And what really did it for me was when I started going to training and I realized how Black volunteers were very much needed because a lot of the families that we serve are African American. And the things that the volunteers in that class were saying were like really shocking and jarring to me. And I was like, dang, I really need to stay here and complete this training and be, because I think we need more volunteers and advocates for our children that have our children's best interests in mind. So maybe your path looks different, right? I'm sure your path looks different. We're all different. But if you want to mentor youth, there's Big Brothers, Big Sisters. It's a great program for that. Maybe you write or you organize or you just like spend time with your neighbor or like call your grandma and hang out with her or knock on your neighbor's door and get to know them so you can build actual close bonds with your neighbors and the people that live in your society. I feel like we say community, and when we say community, we mean people that look like us or people that we want to be around. But in reality, that's true too. But I think in reality, your community are the people that you're nearby. Your community are the people that you sit next to in class. Your community are your neighbors. And we gotta put aside our differences at some point and help love, support, and advocate for our neighbors. We can't build this vision overnight, but it's important that we keep building. We got to build piece by piece. We got to each do what we can collectively and individually to create a society that we're proud to live in. We can't give up. I know sometimes I'd be kind of hopeless on this podcast, but we cannot be hopeless. We have to keep up the hope. We have to keep working. We have to keep advocating. We have to keep dreaming and envisioning and planning and writing down what we want our future to look like. This is like manifestation, right? Like, we have to manifest this. We have to believe that the future that we want is possible. Therefore, we act and respond in such a way. No matter who you are, what your skills are, what your education is, what you look like, there's something that we can do. There's something that we can all do. So 2024 was kind of this shifting point. And I think we kind of laid down in 2025 because it was everything everywhere all at once. But 2026 really got to be the year where we stand up and actively craft the world that we want to live in. We got to get to work. Rosie the Riveter. Let's get to work. Thank you so much for listening. Yeah, if you enjoyed the podcast, make sure that you follow it, comment. I love seeing you guys' response. For real, leave a comment and say if this made you want to do something. Like, what are you going to do? Leave a comment. I would love to read it. I would love to see what's up. Thank you so much for listening. Bye. See you next week.